someone who's both newly single and an investor, here's why I think you should use the same rules you do to find great companies to invest in your dating life. Now, the first key to a good, healthy portfolio is to diversify. You don't want to invest in just one company because that puts your money at risk. If something happened to that one company, everything's going to fall. But if you have a variety of different companies, then if one goes bad, you have a bunch of other companies that will help balance everything out. So you're effectively lowering your risk by investing in a bunch of different companies, diversifying your portfolio, than just focusing on the one thing. And I think that can help really in the early stages of dating as well. You should be dating a whole bunch of different people. You should be diversifying your dating pool. That means you can date outside who you think you normally should date, and you're not putting all of your emotional energy into one person in case it doesn't work out. Now, I'm not saying to sleep with all of these people. I'm just saying go on dates with these people, meet with as many different types of people as you can so you can get a feel for what's going to suit you best. That way you can narrow down the field later on, and you're not putting all your emotional energy into one person. And it also means that if one or two of the people that you're seeing aren't quite working out, it's not going to bother you as much. You're just going to move on to the people that are treating you well, that you're having a fun time with, and you can go out and meet more people as well. As a dividend investor, I don't like companies with high debt. And the same with partners. I don't like partners who are bad financially, who have a lot of debt. Especially if you yourself are doing well financially, you don't want to take the burden of a financial responsibility on from somebody else. The same goes with profitability. I'm looking for companies that are profitable, that are making a profit, that are doing well for themselves. I'm also not going to date broke guys, simply because I'm in a different financial position to them, and it would feel like they were taking advantage of me. So I would be looking for someone more on my level who is actually making a profit. Now, when you're investing in a company, you want a good return on your investment. That could be growth, that could be dividends. But the same applies in a relationship. You need to be getting some sort of return. You need to be getting your needs met. Now, dating isn't cheap. Even if you're not the one paying for dinner, there's hair, makeup, clothes. Dating is kind of expensive for everybody. So if you're investing in getting to know somebody, you should be getting something in return. It doesn't have to be financial. It can be emotional support. It can be just having a lot of fun. You need to be getting something in return though. You need a return on that investment. You don't want to be the one putting in all the work. It needs to be more reciprocal. So also when I'm looking for companies, I'm looking for the top companies. The main reason I choose these companies is because there's less risk and they're more stable. Sure, you can have one wildcard company in your portfolio, but usually I'm sticking to very stable, consistent companies. And that's the same with the type of people I date. Sure, you might have one in your portfolio that's a little bit more fun than the others, but generally I don't want anyone with too many problems and issues. It's going to make things so much less stressful. Now, consistency is probably one of the biggest investing rules that I have. I want consistent dividends coming in on a regular basis because I don't want to be surprised because it's my income. So I'm always looking at how often they pay dividends and how much I'm getting each time so I can predict my income much better. So even though I have some other passive income sources, dividends are my main source. So I'm really careful that they have to be consistent. And the same with dating. You want someone who is consistent. If you have someone who's very inconsistent, perhaps they play hot and cold, perhaps you just don't know where you stand with them, it can cause a lot of anxiety and frustration, and you'll find yourself ruminating over these people because you really are so confused and you don't know where you stand. It's much better if you can find people that are more consistent in your life. So not that you want someone boring and predictable, but someone who you can rely on. So that's the same with reliability. The companies I choose, I obviously want them to be reliable in paying their dividends and being consistent in their growth. But with the people I date, I also want them to be reliable. If they make a date, I want them to stick with it and not flake out. Cancelling one date is okay sometimes, depending on their reasoning. But if they're not reliable and they're flaky, time to dump them and find people that are much more reliable. Also, when you first start investing, you need to remain unemotional. You're choosing these companies for your portfolio because you want them to make money for you. And even though money can be an emotional subject, it's really important when you're trying to choose a good portfolio to remain unemotional and you're just looking at the financials and how that company has performed in the past. So when you're getting to know someone, you should also, in the beginning, remain as unemotional as you can. You're just trying to find out if this person is a good match for you. You're not trying to fall in love on the first date. If you can remain detached in the beginning, you're not going to fall for good looks or charm. You're actually going to evaluate for the type of person that they are, the type of character they have. If you're going to be choosing someone as a life partner, sure, you want there to be some sort of chemistry and spark there, but you don't want to get carried away in the beginning. You want to take your time. And that's our next one. Take time to get to know somebody. I'm a long-term investor. That means that I've held companies for years and years and years, and they continue to perform over the long term. And that's the same of, you should be looking for that in a partner as well. In the stock market, there's a lot of ups and downs in the short term, but over the long term, there should be steady growth in an upward movement. And the same with a relationship. You should be seeing some growth and steps towards a more serious relationship over the long term. You don't want to rush into something. Taking things over the long term is going to have much more sustainability. And to truly know whether you have a good investment or not, sometimes you do need that time to evaluate. Sometimes companies I thought were going to be great ended up not being so great, and in my portfolio rebalance I would get rid of them. And some companies I didn't think would do that great ended up being amazing earners for me. And that's the same with people I meet. Sometimes I meet a person and I'm not quite sure in the beginning, and they end up being an amazing person in the end. And that's happened in the opposite as well. So give it time and actually take your time to get to know somebody. Don't be impulsive in your dating decisions. Really evaluate how you're thinking about this person and whether they belong in your life long term or just for one date. Anyway, those are my rules for dating like an investor. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.